An auto race is more than cars running in circles. From the first beautiful entertainer to the last tired driver, it's a special event like nothing else in all of sports.
So Donnie Allison in first. Where will Cale make his move? He comes to the inside. Donnie Allison throws the block. Cale hits him. He slides. Donnie Allison slides. They hit again. They drive into the turn. They're hitting the wall. They're head on the wall. They slide down to the inside. Let's watch those third place cars. It's a fight between Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison. The tempers overflowing. They're angry. They know they have the window net down, and Earnhardt continues to work on cleaning off the windshield of cars. Now Waltrip on the inside. Side by side. Down to the inside. Oh! 4 cars. There it goes.
There's Bodine into the fence. Joe Ruttman spins around. Who's going to win the race? Where's Kyle Petty? Darrell Waltrip's alongside of him.
There's the hook. Bang.
Earnhardt came down, caught the right rear of Darrell's car. There's Darrell Waltrip's Chevrolet, and it is torn.
Let's take a look at how he did it back in lap number 72. There you see Bodine in the 5. He gets trapped on a slow car. And as he gets trapped in the slow, Earnhardt just drives around in the dirt.
Goes through the dirt. That's a good example of what Earnhardt will do to get in.
Feet away from the checkered flag. There it is. Davey Allison wins. Terry Labonte finishes second. Coming down off turn 4. And Earnhardt loses it, goes on the grass, comes back, and Elliott goes inside. And Earnhardt still got the lead. Incredible. He's at 500.
But Alan Kulwicki is coming off of corner number 4, knowing that he's winning the championship. There's the checkered flag for Alan. He's the champion for '92.
The third corner, he gets way down on the apron of the track, coming to the white flag. There's a leader change, and Labonte takes the lead.
And meanwhile, Ricky Rudd trying to
and Earnhardt spins him out. Oh, man. And Tony Stewart is involved in the crash, as is Mark Martin, Sterling Marlin, and several others. Dale Earnhardt takes the checkered flag.
And Jimmy Spencer ran second.
Slow car's going to be in the way.
Just like a year ago, he's going to get him, though.
Here
He's going to get him. Gordon got loose. It's Harvick.
Harvick by inches. Harvick by inches. Harvick by inches. What a race. What a finish.
How did Jeff Gordon hang on to that car that loose off turn 4?
Man. We got him. Tell me we got him. 29 car. You got him, buddy. Harvick, you got him.
Folks, this is Dale Earnhardt's car and team. And Kevin Harvick, the young man Richard Childress tapped, is doing a John Force down the front straightaway. Look at Kevin Harvick as the fans saluted Dale with the number 3 on the 3rd lap. Kevin Harvick salutes him on the way to victory lane.
If I was him, I'd run that thing out of gas riding around here.
What could be more fitting? What could be more special?
Turn 4, final lap of the Pepsi 400. Michael Waltrip in second, but it's going to be Dale Earnhardt Jr. using lessons learned from his father to go from 6th to 1st and score the victory in the Pepsi 400.
That's unbelievable.
Yes!
That man behind you did it for you. You guys celebrate. You love you, man. You did it.
That was beautiful. Very, very nice.
Junior, you're happy.
Look at that smile.
I am speechless.
To go, what did you say?
Well, he said he knew he could beat him. We just didn't know what was going to happen.
Remember when we've seen this before?
And Steve Mills joining the fray now.
Yeah, man, D.I.'s tough. D.I.'s tough.
We can celebrate.
What a finish at Daytona. Dale Jr. on top of the car in the infield.
The 1998 Daytona 500, when his father finally won the Great American Race, he threw the car into the grass doing victory donuts. Everybody joining in the celebration. That's Chocolate Myers. Long time crewman for Dale at Richard Childress Racing. Sixth to first in the final 6 laps. All right, Mikey, you celebrate too. You never got to celebrate your win in February. You celebrate now.
Yeah, that's just so cool. Storybook ending. Oh, this is great.
Try to win it.
I don't know. I don't think he can step out until he waits till the last second and picks up.
He goes to the outside as Edwards goes.
Oh, no.
He turns him.
No.
Oh, and that destroyed the front end of Newman's car.
No.
Edwards will not make it to the flag.
Oh,
Brad Keselowski won this race.
That's a year's worth of frustration. Oh, conflict. The crews are in it. Somewhere in the middle of that is Jeff Gordon.
That's stupid.
Through as much pain and had as much perseverance as 30-year-old Kyle Busch. Tonight he earns his first Cup title. Kyle Busch, the 2015 NASCAR Sprint Cup champion.
Oh my God! Look at you, Kyle Busch, I've never seen anything like it. Thank you so much. Thanks, team. Great job!
Jimmy Johnson through 3 and 4. Make room. Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. There's another 7-time champ. Jimmy Johnson wins his 7th NASCAR Sprint Cup championship. Finally reaching the peak. Putting an exclamation point on a near perfect season. Mark Truex Jr. is the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series champion. This moment presented by Sunoco, fueling victories all season long. From Dawsonville, Georgia, is about to join his father, Dawsonville, in elite company. Chase Elliott is a NASCAR Cup Series champion. Driver side to the fans, waving, and now he comes up to the young driver that just won his first championship.
I'm ready to rip somebody's freaking head off.
Hey.
What's happening?
Hey, just hanging out. What are y'all doing this wonderful Friday evening?
Man, I just come in from the farm, riding some horses, beating some ranch.
What ranch were you working at?
That's not important. Just the ranch.
Okay. Yeah, so Dalton, what have you been up to today, buddy?
Well, just got off work and now I'm chillaxing, eating me some Japanese beef jerky.
There we go. Friday night LTC, couldn't ask for more. Honestly, it's kind of bad that your standards are that low. Like, if you think that this is going to actually make your Friday night better. Hopefully it does, though. Hopefully it does. What's up, Heavy D? See, this is the first time I finally puzzled it together who Heavy D is. I never knew, like, which viewer Heavy D was. Heavy D's in the Discord.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not that Jacob would know. Jacob's opened Discord 4 times the whole time we've had it.
Dude, I'm level 3.
You might know. So next time that we update, or that I update the intro, Drunk Brad is going in it.
Yes.
Jacob with the cowboy hat.
Dude, I love the cowboy
Junior
hat.
noticed it.
Junior, this cowboy hat's for you.
Junior's wearing his too. Let's go. Mild to moderate ranching for JKL. NSP, what's up? Derek. Jacob works at Ram Ranch. There we go. At least somebody got the reference.
I'd like to go by Copperhead tonight, if you don't mind. That's what I'd like to go by.
Just Copperhead?
Yeah, I'm going.
Do we have to call you Copperhead on the show?
I mean, you can just call me Cop for short.
But anyway, what were you gonna say?
I just want to go toe to toe with Rattlesnake from now on.
Oh man! Oh wait, yeah. Let's get call him out right now. This is your moment to start scheduling your fight. This is your presser.
Fight at Bristol. Who has the best cowboy hat?
Okay, so we're gonna have Copperhead versus Rattlesnake. One of y'all are a knockoff, and I guess at Bristol we'll find it out. I feel like the best mustache is gonna be one of the the grading scales, right?
I know, man, and I just started growing out my beard again. That's a shame.
Maybe we'll just measure mustache. I won't make you shave the beard. Yeah. Yeah. Whoever has the longest mustache between Copperhead and Rattlesnake will get a point. Yeah, so we're here tonight, actually, not for ourselves, but we have a special guest to interview tonight. So what I'm going to do is bring him in, let him introduce himself to everybody, and we'll get started with our Fan Friday fantabulous fun free-for-all. How's that? Can anybody repeat that?
Sounds good to me.
Fabulous Friday fun. Ram.
That works. All right. Here is Colby Evans.
Hi guys. I'm Colby Evans. For people who don't know, I run the ARCA NASCAR Start and Park, our YouTube channel. If you guys don't know what the start and parks are, for people who've been watching a long time, go to the races back in the day and you wonder, why the heck are those cars pulling off in 3 laps? Why the heck do those cars have an overheating issue in 2 laps? Easy. They don't. They're just lazy. They want the money. I just thought it'd be a fun, it's kind of a fun gimmick. I started back in 2017. Also run a YouTube channel that mainly runs a lot of ARCA videos. If you guys are interested in that, we've done videos on driver passing away. We've done forgotten teams, whole bunch of fun stuff. So yeah, if you guys want to join that, I would appreciate it. And obviously, can't thank these 3 guys enough for bringing me on. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show.
I just want to say something. I'm actually a fan of your YouTube channel.
I thank you very much, Copperhead. I appreciate that.
You're one of the few NASCAR YouTubers now that I can that guy's cool. There's not many of them that I say that guy's cool, but you're cool. And you got a hell of a mullet. I love it.
Thank you. I have very slow growing hair, so this took a good 2 years, but yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I had the best mullet on the show for quite some time. Jacob's always ran close, but Jacob never displays his. But now you take the cake.
Thank you.
So, me and Jacob are fighting for the most mediocre mullet in the room. So
I feel like I've lost now that I'm a cowboy hat guy. It's going to be covered up.
I feel like that might give you extra mullet points, honestly.
Bonus points.
Colton said that mullet is badass. I know a thing about good mullets.
Thank you, Colton. Trust me, it took a while for it to get this good. It looked kind of bad for a couple of months, but I just wanted to stick it out because I figured about one point I could get to this.
That's and here's the thing with a mullet. There's a lot of I call them prissy mullets, right? The Morgan Wallen mullets, where people are really working hard to make sure it's clean and crispy. You have a true 1996 mullet, man, and that's what I appreciate. Yeah. I think that's the best way to do a mullet. We got a 10-star mullet. You got a 5-star mullet.
I'm assuming that all of these are different. Okay, let's make the scale equal across the board.
Yeah. Let's rate it. So, from what's a good? Who has the best mullet of all time? Is it young Jeff Gordon?
I want to say Travis Tritt.
Oh, Travis Tritt, that's a good one.
Travis Tritt had a good mullet.
Okay, yeah. So we'll say from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. to Travis Tritt, where does Colby fall?
Everybody's topping her on that.
I know, yeah. It's like the awkward way.
It's a damn good mullet, okay? That's not on the scale, JD.
That's not on the scale, though.
So are you putting Colby with the he's putting you at Billy Ray Cyrus, so that's good.
I've gotten that many times.
That's how you know you have an authentic mullet. If somebody's like, "Hey, Billy Ray."
Yep, I've gotten that multiple times at my job.
I would put Billy behind Travis. Okay, so you're right. You're like a 9. That was a 9. So,
I'll take it.
Congratulations. Yeah. Towards the top for sure. All right, yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you got started with all of this. Did you were you born into like a racing oriented family? Was it a hobby or a passion that you found on your own? Where did your love for stock car racing come from?
In the beginning, I was actually more fond of trains. I grew up watching Thomas. I grew up going to see the big trains. Then my brother and my father they were the real NASCAR fans. And sort of about the age of 5, I started to grow out of trains. And then it was the 2006 Daytona 500. My dad let me stay up late and watch it with them, and watching Jimmy Johnson win and just right there, hooked. And while Dad and Hunter, my brother Hunter, were mostly fond of the Cup races, I would start watching the truck races, the then Busch races, ARCA races, and I just, once you're hooked, man, like every sport, you watch it one time, there you go. And then just kind of watched casually for the first 10 years. Went to my first race. It was the 2008 Iowa Speedway race where they had Casey Kane come in. So I went to races for about 10 years. And then around 2016, I started to get incredibly jealous of the people who kept getting garage passes. I'm like, how the heck are they getting this? And well, obviously no one's going to reveal their secrets, so I had to go out and find them myself. So luckily I was able to get in some contacts, and I still don't remember how, but I got in connection with one of my favorite all-time underdogs, Morgan Shepherd. And starting at Kansas in 2016, despite me being 15 years old and not being allowed in the garage area, Morgan snuck me in anyway. And worked with Morgan for a couple years, and he's the best. Then unfortunately, Morgan kind of scaled back down and got with another great underdog in Carl Long. And from about 2017 to 2020, just had the best time with Carl Long, and kind of trying to keep that up at the same time. Also got friends with Timmy Hill working on his truck team. And during that, though, ARCA would be coming to Iowa Speedway as well, so I wanted to branch out into that circuit, and that's when I got hicked up with guys like Wayne Peterson and Brad Smith, who they will take literally anyone they can get for help, especially if it's free. And it's been a thrill ride ever since. I struggle in the heat, but it's worth it because, these opportunities I'm just so thankful for. And I'm helping Timmy Hill out next weekend at Kansas, and I'm just beyond thankful for these opportunities because, me being a young kid and watching these cars on the track and being able to help out in the pits, I don't have the money to drive them, but at least I can work on them.
So what kind of work did you start with Morgan? Like, how did you, first off, talk me through that situation, how you got linked up with him, and then what kind of work you were doing.
So yeah, obviously I just kind of wanted to get my foot in the door mainly I just wanted to get a garage pass because I wanted to see everything up close. And basically it was as simple as I emailed his racing website saying, hey, I'd like to volunteer services. I'd like any way I can get a garage pass. I think he could tell, whoever was answering the emails could tell that this was a 15-year-old typing. And I was shocked when they wrote back to me, and luckily we just got linked up. This was Kansas Speedway fall of 2016. 15 years old, so technically I'm not allowed to touch anything, but luckily by 15 I was already 6 feet tall, so I may have only been 15, but I looked a lot older. And he didn't really have me doing much. I pretty much just helped push the car, help bring equipment. But over time, it would help adjusting the car. And again, we were always a start and park, so we never really had to bring or use a lot of equipment. It was really with Carl Long that I learned a lot. And I was proud to say that I really did everything but go over the wall because I couldn't afford the crew license. And obviously Carl can hire more professional people who can do the pit stops, but I basically did everything else. And it's just a dream, man. It was great.
So when you met Morgan, I mean, was that when he was racing the 89 car? Am I thinking of the right era?
Yes, this was 2016. Yes, that's when I first.
Yeah. Man, that was the he had the Jesus car, right? Is that what I'm thinking?
Yep, Racing with Jesus. Yep.
Yeah, man, I remember that car. That's cool.
Yeah, it was silver and black, just like his 80s car, man. It might not have been the quickest car, but it was definitely a beautiful car for sure.
It was old school, man. I remember seeing that car every now and then, and I'd be like, man, that's a good looking car. Cody, I've got to ask him, and that I've been after Morgan Shepherd for so long, and Morgan Shepherd. I'm asking. I don't even care. All right, I'm assuming you know about the Winston poster, right? Like Tim Richmond.
Oh God.
Okay, yeah, I'm asking. All right, Morgan is like right there in the poster. He's literally there. Is it real? Did Morgan ever mention it?
This is going to solve all of our problems. Let's go.
I'm not allowed to disclose.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
So you have heard.
told me.
So you have heard. You know the answer.
Shit.
You don't have to say yes or no, but you know the answer.
Let me ask this. After the show, it stays between us. Can you tell us?
I don't think
Yes,
you can.
as long as if it stays between us, yes, I can. I'm sorry, but Morgan told me back, I think it was about 2017 Iowa. I cannot.
Did you ask? Like, did you inquire about it?
My dad asked.
Okay. Okay.
See, I asked Morgan. I emailed and told them. I said, I'm not even going to try to BS you guys. This is what I want to know, and they never responded. I was like, okay, they're not answering me. I was like, all right.
For good reason.
My dad had that poster, so he actually asked him, and then Morgan went ahead and told us. But he just said, at this point in my career, I don't want people to know the truth. So,
which is fair enough, man.
Yeah.
Like that is. Honestly, I might leave if you do spill the beans. I might leave because I don't think that I actually want to know. I think I want the magic to stay alive for me. So I am on the side. I believe that it is a cane. That is I have held true to that since I was little. The first time I ever saw it, I said that is a cane. Everybody else on the show disagrees with me. But maybe we find out tonight. Maybe we don't. I don't know. So Dalton, do you have any questions for Colby?
So I apologize if you've said this already, but are you from Kansas?
Nope. Just out a small town called Prohl, just outside of Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
So do you go to Iowa races much?
Well, when they did come here, absolutely. Unfortunately, I wish. I mean, I'm probably one of the main guys who's like, give this track one cup race. I know it'll put on a good show.
I would love to see him go there. Do you believe that there could be a small chance that Cup ever goes there to Ottawa?
Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Before COVID, yes. Post-COVID, I don't know.
So you're from Corn State, right? Like you're in Corn State, yeah.
So, I'm going to ask another stereotypical Iowa question. Do you like Slipknot?
I do not.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I am for about the last 10 years, I've been a full-fledged member of the KISS Army.
Okay. Big KISS guy. All right, right on. All right, so you worked with Morgan, and then you kind of bounced around, and then you started to go into ARCA. So there's been a lot of crazy stuff around ARCA here recently. A lot of people, I think, just like to reach out and try to get people talking by just attacking other series and that sort of thing. Crazy. Why is ARCA disrespected by NASCAR fans? What is the best way for you to answer that? Can you make me an ARCA fan?
Oh man, I'll try my best, but I feel like it's just the cliche of the daddy's money. They always rep on us for insane crashes, which I understand. We have some pretty insane crashes, but that's just part of racing. The low car counts, but I mean, NASCAR struggled with that in the early days. The low payouts, that's been the same since the 1980s. And we still got plenty of sponsors in the series. We still got plenty of loyal sponsors. You know, they say a lack of real driver talent. I mean, how many drivers, you know, even in the last 10 years are in major series that started in ARCA? I mean, Brennan Poole, Ryan Blaney are just a couple of guys that I could mention, you know, and I'll even say, I mean, you can call it a hot take, but, you know, John West Townley was garbage in the cups and trucks, but he actually really thrived in ARCA because I feel like it was just a different type of race car for him to drive.
Scott Speed had success in ARCA too,
Absolutely.
didn't he?
That's a great example. Scott Speed was a beast in ARCA, and then he went to Cup and killed his career. But yeah, I just feel like it has a combination of everything that I feel like a race fan would want. You got your guys that are just going to run up front. You got your mid-pack drivers that are not going to probably run better than fifth. You got your guys who are going to run the whole race but not run very well. And then you got your guys out there who are literally just there to have a good time. And I just feel like it really represents your blue-collar, hard-working people who are there to really have a good time. And then you got your guys who are there and they're going to race their damn hearts out for that trophy. The problem is I just feel like, you know, the eras of the older drivers, Tim Steele, Frank Kimmel, you know, those guys, unfortunately, they just retired, you know, just got to move on with life. And unfortunately, all we kind of have left are the so-called daddy's money young kids. But let's face it, what racing series doesn't have daddy's money kids? There's more daddy's money kids in late models. Half the truck series is daddy money kids, in my opinion, nowadays. So, yeah, I feel like they just rep on ARCA because it's just kind of I guess it's the cool thing to do. I don't know. I feel like it just gets too much hate. And I can understand. Not every race is a banger. Believe me. We've had some ARCA races this season that even I've admitted that have not been good. But I've also stood by my ground that we've had a lot of great races where we've even outshined some of the series, other series that were there.
Well, sorry, Cody.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Well, you know, I can remember growing up, and you're talking about it too. I know Cody is going to know what I'm talking about. Dalton, you probably will too. You know, when I was younger, NASCAR was at the prime. Like, it was at its biggest point ever. It had reached its peak, and this was before kind of the downfall. You know, we're kind of on a rise again. Stock car racing is on a rise again. But I remember the tickets used to be so expensive you couldn't go to Cup Series races. You know, if you I come from an Appalachian area. I'm not going to sit here and say that I was dirt poor, but I wasn't rich. You know what I mean? So I bought ARCA tickets. I went to the ARCA races. I had just as much fun watching ARCA back in the day. Now, that being said, I hadn't been to an ARCA race in years, but is it still, like, is the grandstands, is that still a thing? Like, do you see as many people in the ARCA grandstands, or is it kind of like Truck Series level or less?
Well, that's the unfortunate part that I can't agree with people. Yeah, definitely the days of seeing ARCA people get ARCA stands being full is unfortunately just not there. I mean, I'll admit it. We had about 4,500 people at the Iowa race, and that was a 35,000 seat venue. It's not what it used to be, and that's one thing I've accepted. I can't defend that. It's just it's there. I can't defend saying, oh, they just won't come. No, it's obviously not the biggest fan base, and it's definitely dropped. I agree with that.
Well, I mean, it's not a knock, but do you think there's a reason for that? Do you think there's a reason that people don't? Is it kind of like the same thing as local tracks? You know, because Sport Speedway, that's our local track. The attendance, Cody, I mean, you could sit here and say this: the attendance is terrible.
Dude, yeah. I mean, more than often, like, if there's ever more than 250 people there, I would be surprised, and it's sad. I love small short track racing. When ARCA comes to Bristol, I try to make the ARCA race. Of course, you know, it's middle of the week. It usually doesn't work out very well. But I love watching the ARCA Super Speedway races. Even when I was younger, I watched the ARCA races. So I'm not an ARCA hater by any means, but I'm not very, like, educated or up to date on, you know, like, how the manufacturers fare. I couldn't tell you any teams other than Venturini and Rev Racing. Is that right?
Yeah, Rev Racing, yeah.
Yeah, those are the only two ARCA teams that I know. But, yeah, it's, from my perspective, to me, I see ARCA as, like, it's there, but, like, I don't know anybody who keeps up with ARCA personally. Just, like, within my age group. I don't know anyone.
And and again, I can understand that. Like I'm not gonna hate on that because it's not. We have FS1, but it's not on a major TV network. I mean, the real races that bring in the ratings are the days where they're like for instance, next weekend at Kansas, you have the Xfinity race and then you have the ARCA race right after. That's usually the ARCA races that bring in somewhat of a TV audience. Otherwise, if it's just on Mad TV or the ones that don't even make MAV and they're on Flow Racing, I can understand, people are like, oh, there's an ARCA race on. I can understand that. I can understand that. It's definitely, the ARCA Twitter account only has 55,000 followers. I understand if people are like, oh, ARCA's on? I didn't know. I'm not going to argue with that. It's definitely not that big. So I'm like I said, I'm a full-on supporter, but I can understand some of the criticism for sure.
Does ARCA ever come to Ohio?
Mid-Ohio. And Toledo, Ohio.
There you go, Joe.
Yeah, they're at Toledo, Ohio. That's actually the season finale. I don't watch it too. Watch for and again, that's fair. Watch it for Raja. And I'll say compared to his East season last year, he's greatly improved in talent. He's 17 points out of the championship though, so it's going to be tough for him to close.
So being somebody who keeps up with the sport and you've watched people come and go, you've seen the Ty Gibbs, right? Yep. Now with Raja, do you think that is he going to come up into the next series of NASCAR and find immediate success, do you think?
There's I don't know how many rides are really available out there. It really just kind of also depends on how much funding I would say he brings. He definitely has already funding behind him, but the cost of a full-time ARCA ride compared to a full-time Xfinity ride is just not even close. So, obviously I want him to get a full-time ride because I see the potential. He's done great for Alpha Prime, which, for about a 15th to 20th place car, that's where he's running. That's where he's running with those cars, where he should be. And I see the potential. It's just, in this day and age, it just really comes down to that stupid word funding.
So let me ask this. I feel like you have a little bit of insider knowledge. What is the pricing like, just roughly, for a team in ARCA? How much are they spending per year? And let's say they're not destroying cars every single week. Let's say they're finishing 10th place every single week. What does the financial situation look like with that?
Man, unfortunately, if I told you that, Bill Venturini would kick my ass. Venturini does not like that kind of. Not Billy. Billy doesn't really mind it, but Big Bill, he likes to keep that stuff private, and I have to respect that.
Really? Okay, interesting.
That's fair. Is that most of the stuff? Do a lot of teams in ARCA keep it close-lipped?
Yeah, the financials. At the end of the day, it's just kind of the old saying: financial is none of your business. And while they are kind enough to tell me, just because I like to reach out, I just want to respect their wishes and not put it out there in the public.
Yeah, completely fair. Yeah, understandable.
Do you think that is? Do you think that plays into it at all? Like maybe the lack of overall
cars
outreach, cars. Yeah, just the overall. Yeah. So do you think that ARCA is gate kept?
What does that mean again?
So gatekeeping, it's like if you're already there, you're established, and you don't want anybody new coming in.
No, I would not say that at all. It's just the cost to get the chassis is not hard to get, but the cost of the body, and it's really the Ilmore motor. I really appoint the Ilmore motor. I've gone back and forth with some of the people who work in ARCA about it, but I really do appoint the motor because I was more happy back in the day when you were just running old Cup motors. It was pretty easy to get your hands on those. But now that you got to get the Ilmore and then you got to turn it in and get it fixed, I really feel like it's the Ilmore costs that have really hurt the fields. And then, I am part of the group of people who say that demanding the series go from the Gen 4s to the Gen 6 bodies also hurt the field because you have a lot of those people who cannot afford to transfer that. Obviously, the Gen 6 bodies are safer. That is absolutely true than the Gen 4s. But at the end of the day, I spoke to a lot of teams at the end of about 2018 or 19 who said, my car is still ready to go, but I can't afford to get the new body, so it's just going to sit here.
and that sucks because you got people that are willing to go out there and run.
Like, you guys know Daryl Basham at all? Daryl Basham Racing, 34 car.
I know the car.
Yeah, 34 Daryl Basham. It wasn't the exact reason, but that was one of the main reasons why they were done, because they had their steel body car. They ran it in the last steel body eligible race, and it's still ready to go. I don't think they still have it now, but at the time they could have ran it the very next week, but they didn't let them.
Well, can I ask this? Since the Gen 6 body is still being, they're still running Gen 6. Are we going to start to see more of of the later issues of Gen 6 bodies, like Camaros and Mustangs? I've seen the Mustang run in ARCA series, so that's coming.
Yeah, the Mustang, the unfortunate part with that, it was just, 5-star bodies. They've been having, everywhere's having supply issues. Unfortunately, it's like, with this series, ARCA unfortunately has to take a back seat to the bigger series. So it just took a while to get that Ford Mustang body out. And the Camaro body, I don't think we're going to see that this season, but I would expect to see that next season. The problem is, I don't know if we'll have any full-time Chevrolet teams that are wanting to make the upgrade, because they're not going to force anyone to make the upgrade. Because, for instance, in today's series, we got Amber Balkin running the old Ford nose, while Taylor Gray's running the new Ford nose. So they're not going to force anyone by any means. So even if that new nose is like in stock and ready to order, I don't expect them to switch immediately, if that makes sense.
That was a huge question I had, because I remember when the Camaro first come out, and you guys will remember this, it had a problem with the nose. It took a while to round that nose out, and I was wondering, I was like, if they force the Chevrolet teams to go to that nose, that's going to affect performance, because it did in the Cup Series, for instance. So that's kind of neat that they're not forcing anybody, I guess.
I actually want to go back to some drivers real quick. We talked about Roger Carruth. I want to talk about another ARCA driver. We actually had this guy on the show, Braden Laster.
Love him.
Yeah, so we had a wonderful interview with him. He was on for like 2 hours, and it was such a great conversation.
Love that guy.
Yeah. Can you just just give me your thoughts on him, and what do you think his future looks like?
Well, again, I think that just comes down to funding. I definitely working with the Mullins. I think he actually tested with the Willie Mullins team just a couple days ago. I don't know if it was Dominion Speedway, but I think he did some testing with them. He's a great guy. Finally got to meet him in person at the Knoxville truck race, and just one of the coolest helmets in NASCAR, a pizza helmet.
Yes.
Oh, geez.
That's what made me like him.
Yeah, like he's such a good kid, and I want nothing but the best for him. He's got, if him and Moonhead could just form a team together, because I know they're good friends, I'll be on their crew in a heartbeat. But yeah, nothing but the best for him. But I think it just sadly that it's that one word again, Dalton. It's just funding.
Yeah.
He unveiled his the truck scheme on this show.
Yeah.
That race.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
We got the name. We got the nickname that scheme. We nicknamed
it Cheese Flames.
It's Cheese Flames, man. It's
I love
fantastic. You ever ate pizza with that guy? That's a question I have.
Unfortunately, I did not, but I will say that he did have pizza with him. I was just we had already eaten lunch, but I'm sure if I would have went over, he would have given me a slice.
I feel like he carries a pizza box with him everywhere he goes.
He
he's
probably
always
does.
got pizza strapped.
I really hope a pizza company sponsors him, because you got the ultimate sponsor.
Oh, dude, how marketable is that? We got a guy who already loves pizza. It works naturally. Ryan wants to know what merch you got on.
This is not actually a jacket. This was a special Christmas present, but from one of my crew member friends. This was one of my favorite I wanted to pick this one for the show. It was one of my favorite Xfinity cars as a kid. I'll have to stand up for this one. But it's the number 11 team of America's Incredible Pizza Company.
Okay. Shout out pizza. Okay.
Yeah. This is the car that Scott Lagasse Jr. drove back in 2009.
I remember that.
Yep.
Man, okay. We're going to have to talk about
this. Is just a nostalgic show now, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Let's talk about, when it comes to NASCAR merch, because I can already see that I assume you're a merch guy. You probably got you got numbers on the door or on the wall. When you go for merch, do you go for stuff, like mainstream Jeff Gordon? Do you go for like that odd stuff that you remember, like that stuff that you have a connection to?
Oh, I got a couple of interesting old die casts. I go for the low budget stuff. I go for the crazy stuff. I buy God, I should have brought them. I wish you would have watched me that before the show. I would have grabbed them. But, or I mean, if I could go grab them like super quick. I don't know. But I got to, if I see a Derek Cope diecast, man, I grab that.
Do you have a Derek Cope diecast?
Here.
Yeah, I'll wait.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go for it. I love this guy already.
Yeah.
Dude, Joe.
Wait, that's.
I have a 06, the 5th Roush entry shirt. That's one of my favorite shirts of all time.
Derek Cope, Friendly's car.
Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah. Has anyone ever ate at a Friendly's?
Not that I can really remember. I don't know. But yeah, I saw that car online for about $40, and I'm just like, I love Derek. I got to have it.
Derek Cope, man. That's a good guy right there.
Yeah, and in terms of like this, this is a legit crew shirt. I don't know who had it, but yeah, I like to collect vintage crew shirts. Again, I wish you guys would have told me before the show. I would have brought my entire collection to show for you because I got a couple of good ones. My Crown Jewel crew shirt, I will say, is my 2013 Kurt Busch Wonder Bread from Furniture Row Racing.
Oh, dude, that's sick.
That is a crown jewel, yeah, for sure.
And I got it for a steal, $20.
Are you shitting me?
Dude.
$20.
Is that recent you got it for that? Or was that like years ago? You had it for a while?
3 years ago.
Okay. All right. Because I know
the white tints, bro. The white tints of the tracks have some bangers in them every now and then.
Yeah, man. Well, sometimes they find a vintage shirt and they're like, "Hey, this looks like it's $250."
Yeah, and it is. Yeah. And then there's me who walks in and I'm like, all right. So, Jacob, do you have anything following?
I'm all on merch now. I'm gonna let you ask the question.
Dalton, do you have anything?
No, go ahead, Cody.
All right. So, you worked within the industry a little bit. You started doing content. How and why did you start making videos?
I just felt like, we see all these NASCAR podcasts. I mean, heck, there's even an IndyCar podcast, IMSA podcast. And I'm like, well, I might as well bring some love for ARCA. And it's just, I feel like it's fun. I mean, being myself who's been in the garage with people, I feel like I can bring a special part to the show that maybe some of the people who do NASCAR podcasts, I mean, David Land, he brings all of it to his shows, but I feel like I can bring kind of that same energy to an ARCA podcast. And the videos, I just thought it'd be fun. I mean, there's some people who I've seen out there, they don't put a lot of effort into their videos, but I see them, they've done specific driver deaths. And so I really wanted my video I am most proud of. And because I spent months on it, I researched a ton, and I really got in touch with about 20 different people in the business, was the video on Eric Martin's crash. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. Have you seen the crash of Eric Martin at Charlotte in like 2002 where he got hit by Deborah Renshaw?
I watched your video. The first video that brought me onto you was the Tommy Joe Martin's.
That one.
Dude, that was a great video. I didn't even know that. So I was like, this is really interesting. So yeah, I did see that video that you watched. And there was a ton of information in that I had no idea about.
Yeah, I wanted to bring Eric's story. And same thing with the Chad Coleman one I just released. People have seen the crash. It's in like 50,000 compilations. But who's Eric Martin? Who's Chad Coleman? I wanted to tell their story, and I just feel like it makes me feel good inside that finally people can realize, oh, Eric Martin, he worked for Hickson Motorsports for a long time before, the unfortunate crash happened. Chad Coleman was just in his 4th start. They had just bought the car literally less than a year ago. And I just feel like those stories deserve to be told. And also with the other videos, I admit I have an ideas page in a Google Doc, and I literally scroll and I tap one, and that's the video. I don't have any order of videos like Stavola Labonte Racing, Tommy Joe Martin's The No Good Very Bad Day, when BJ McLeod nearly drove for Junior Motorsports. I feel like it's just kind of a fun cliche of everything that can, for any NASCAR fan, it's not all one different thing. It's just a whole bunch of crazy videos there and there and there. And yeah, I just hope people enjoy it.
So did you have any interest in like making these videos? So I video edit. That's like one of my passions. I know how much work goes into editing a video, and it doesn't matter how simple the video is. So, I mean, did you have, past experience working with a video program, or have you just self-taught yourself all of this?
Pretty much. I bought the Wii Video. I don't know if you guys know what Wii Video is. I use that platform, and I just kind of learn how you go. I mean, you can see the progression. If you look at my first couple of videos to now, I feel like they've gotten better, but yeah, it's just kind of self-taught. I'm not an expert by any means, but I try my best because I don't want anything to look sloppy, at least.
And how old are you?
21.
21. So how does your family feel about all of this? Like, do they think it's cool? Or are they keeping up in any way? Friends, like how everybody around you, like, because I know everybody around me, and I think Dalton and Jacob can probably relate. Like it's a lot to handle, like being around anybody who like makes any kind of content, because I mean, 9 times out of 10, like we are like either super obsessive or like just really weird in a lot of ways. And I mean, that's just like, you have to be to do this stuff. So, I mean, how does your friends and family like embrace it? Like, do they watch your videos, or, how is that for you?
Yeah, they watch my videos from time to time. I try not to annoy them too much about it. If I got an idea, I just kind of keep it to myself. My dad's so busy with his construction program. He's already got enough on his plate. He doesn't need to hear me talk about a random content video. And my mom, she just listens because she's my mom. It's what she has to do. Whether she wants
this is
to
a part of it. Yeah.
Listen. Yeah. Whether she wants to or not, she's going to listen. But yeah, I mean, the only one who really listens is the dog.
They say it's a man's best friend for a reason.
Amen to that, bud. Amen to that. But yeah, they support it. They think it's fun, and it's just like I said. They like the fact that I'm getting myself out there and just trying to make your name more well known, because I think that's just kind of the key nowadays, especially with this sport. Just trying to make yourself out there, not being just any type of fan. You want to feel special, and that's kind of what I want to feel, because I feel like I've made that little bit of an imprint. I got a good fan base. You guys obviously are a part of my friends now, and I made so many friends that I didn't have 5 years ago, and that I think that's the part that makes me feel good, is I just now have people to talk to now.
Right? Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
We all talk about this. So, and when we all started, it was me and Jacob who knew each other first and foremost. And then, like we've branched out, crossed paths. And then we had Dalton on as a guest one time. And we were like, yo, he's like from the same place we're from. We all got along so well. And like, that list just like continued to grow forever. Yeah, the amount of like NASCAR Twitter friends that I have now surpasses my IRL friends list. And like, that's okay. Yeah. That like some of my best friends now, like I've met on Twitter. So, I mean, it's such a cool time that we live in. So I do have one more question, and then I'll pass the mic over to whoever wants to ask. So when you started trying to weasel your way into the garages at 15, how did your parents, like, how were they receptive to that then?
My mom was nervous. My dad was like, go for it.
Okay, right on.
Yep, my dad was like, full bore, go for it. If you can get in, good luck with that. But yeah, being 6 foot tall at 15 didn't hurt. That definitely helped. But the problem was I was 6 feet tall with a baby face. So
yeah,
that was holding me back. I had shorter hair, no facial hair, massive baby face. But I was 6 feet tall, so they were just like, come on in.
Did you like deepen your voice at all?
I tried. It didn't really work.
Yeah, no, that's right there at that age where you have the awkward teenager voice.
But Morgan's kind of the master of convincing in a lot of ways, and maybe the official kind of knew, but maybe the official cut me some slack. I don't know. I mean, I've seen him every year since. It's the same official every year. So I feel like
Yeah, he's like, you're just now 21.
Yeah.
How can you tell Morgan Shepherd no? Honestly, I couldn't do it. Like if Morgan Shepherd's like, I'm going to stab you right now, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that's fine. My question is, all right, man. So like, obviously, you got some. I've seen it on Twitter already. You've got some people that you kind of creating a fan base now. People are really respecting your content, which is awesome. And what I like about
respecting, keyword on that, respecting.
Keyword is
and that's what I want. That's what I definitely strive for.
And I think the cool thing about your videos is you go for topics, and this is not a knock, so don't take this as a knock. You go for topics that people don't think about. You go for stuff that people have no idea about. And, you know, maybe and your video pops up and it's like, oh, yeah, I kind of remember that. But, you know, what about this? And that gets you to watching. So when you were like going and getting your info and, you know, you were talking to people and bringing up different scenarios and different questions, were they like, what the hell, man? Like, why are you asking me something about 10 years ago? I mean, were they kind of like closed? Did they not want to say anything? Was it easy to get information out of them? I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
Tommy Joe did not want to bring that day back up.
Took some talking.
Yep. And luckily for the BJ McLeod video, that I didn't actually have to get to BJ to that. I just kind of went by of Jordan Bianchi and Bob Poggers's tweets and the talks that I had with some friends that day. I just kind of compiled all that together. A lot of the videos I do make, I don't have to speak directly to the drivers. I just kind of crew members know about 95% of the story anyway, so it's a little bit easier to go to them.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I want to go back to where you were talking about next weekend in Kansas. You're going to be working with Timmy Hill. What's it like working with him? And do you have like a dream driver or race team that you want to work for maybe in the near future?
To be honest with you, it is Timmy Hill. I mean, everything you hear about him is true. Just a lovely guy, lovely family man. I don't think I've ever seen that guy not smile. He literally, even when he's in a bad mood, he'll give an angry smile. He doesn't stop smiling. He's a great guy. His brother Tyler is even better. They got a whole fun group of guys over there. They always give me crap about my hair, which is because some of them don't have hair, so they get a little jealous. They're a great group of guys. I mean, you know, they know I'm a rookie. I am not. I'll admit right here, I am not, you know, one of these full-on mechanics. I mean, I could probably take the truck apart, but putting it back together, that might take a little bit longer than taking it apart. But they are more than turning a wrench, and you're doing it wrong, they will come over. They won't yell at you. They'll just tell you what you're doing wrong, and they'll help you with it. And then they won't teach you how to do it. They'll tell you. I'm not trying to explain this. You do it, and you'll learn how you go, if that makes sense to you guys. But yeah, just a great group of guys, more than helpful. And really where that relationship came from was all the years of Timmy driving for Carl Long. That's where that relationship really came from. So when I asked Timmy to volunteer for him, I think that trust, because we already kind of knew each other, we've been friends for years. I think that trust was already there. So, and I can't thank him enough. I mean, literally, like I said, he is the best. And his brother Tyler, I feel like his brother Tyler doesn't get talked about enough, but Tyler's definitely.
He had a brother.
Yep. Yeah, brother Tyler. I think it's his younger brother. I keep forgetting, but yeah.
He races periodically, doesn't he?
Yep.
Okay.
Wasn't he the one that finished second in the Talladega race last year?
With Tate Fogelman, yes.
Yeah. Because me and Cody was there. That was before the famous incident.
I had money on Tate that day.
Yeah, you did.
I won $50. Yeah, that was a good day for me. I thought that I drew the shit end of the stick. I entered a random driver pool, and somehow I ended up with Tate. So, like, you know, my day was already done. And then dude goes out there and just dumps John Hunter for the win.
I remember watching that live. I didn't care. I was cheering for Tyler, obviously, but it was great. I wish Tate would have still gotten an interview, but it was great seeing Tate get the win. I was just worried that after the flag, they were wrecking. I didn't want Tyler to hit the wall.
Right, yeah.
They needed that truck for the next year. I didn't want them to tear that truck up.
So all of this work that you're doing now, and I'll say for the last 6 years, would you say that has been resume builders for you to move on eventually, do you want to work like in the Cup Series, in the garages, or are you kind of getting into this content media side of everything and thinking maybe that's the path you want to take? 10 years from now, where do you want to be?
Man, that's a good question, because I actually also recently just joined a NASCAR media organization, and I enjoy that a lot too, man. Be honest with you, if I could choose to work in a specific series, man, those next-gen cars are cool, but I enjoy working on them Xfinity cars. The Xfinity series, I feel like it's just a lot more fun. The trucks are fun too. I just feel like the Cup Series is just too much. I mean, I'll be honest with you right here. The Xfinity garage is more fun to be in. Truck garage, more fun to be in. The Cup garage, I'm going to be honest with you, it feels a little bit too much security sometimes. Now, you can't really have as much fun. You can't have as much leeway. Now, obviously, you don't go acting like an idiot, but like the Xfinity garage, the teams are more welcoming to the fans. Come on up to the hauler, speak to the driver. The driver will come out to you and speak to you. Where in the Cup hauler, I mean, the only guys you see doing that are the guys in the back half of the garage, because who doesn't love BJ McLeod? Josh Willicke's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Corey LaJoie, a stud. But then you're not going to see that out of a Joey Logano. You're not going to see that out of a Chase Elliott. You're not going to see that out of a Kyle Busch. So I'm not trying to be rude to you, Dalton. I'm just saying you're not going to see Kyle Busch do that, with all due respect. And that's why I love the Truck Series garage, ARCA garage, and Xfinity garage a lot more, because that's what you see a lot more of.
Well, no, you're actually right. You're actually right. Like that's
something that we've talked about on this show. We actually talked about this with what were they called? The NASCAR Libertarian.
The Libertarian NASCAR Party Caucus.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that was those were the homies. Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about, one of them been friends with Chase Elliott, and we were all talking about how these drivers can't really show their personality. And you are right. You can't go to Xfinity Series and Truck Series and have more of a, I guess, human interaction rather than.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Because, and again, even the top people in the Truck Series, like you won't see Matt Crafton doing it, but I would easily say about half the people. I mean, if Timmy is standing outside the hauler and he's not busy, anyone can gladly come up to him and ask for a picture and an autograph, and he'll gladly do it because he appreciates the fans. Absolutely 100% appreciates the fans. Like, for instance, Norm Benning, Jennifer Jo Cobb and even if they're busy, they will always stop and sign for people. And I worked a couple races for Norm, and I do miss him in the sport. But let's just say, though, I can't get fully into it, but it didn't exactly end well with Norm.
I kind of wondered about that.
Was it because he did this after the Eldora win?
He just said he can't get into it, Dalton.
Changing subject here. Summer says or asks, are there any rules about betting on the sport if you're working in it? This is actually a interesting question.
Trust me, especially after what we saw after Daytona with some of these people winning big bucks, I wish, but I was told really quickly, hey, you can gladly start doing this, you just won't be working for us.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. That makes a lot of sense too. I mean, you can definitely, if it's a head-to-head and you're in the garage, you could totally sabotage someone's day. I guarantee you my driver is going to finish ahead of yours. I promise. You don't have brakes anymore.
Yeah, trust me. That's actually that's not what Timmy told me. That's what my media boss told me.
Really?
In a nice way. I mean, he wasn't rude about it at all, but he just said, with all due respect, that's how it would go down. And I'm like, I completely understand. And honestly, that was the answer I expected to when I asked the question.
Yeah, for sure.
I just didn't want to. You don't want to sign up, win big, and then you're told the next day you're fired.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so do you still reside in Iowa, or did you make the move?
Sadly, I'm still in Iowa. Trust me. I'll be honest, COVID really killed those plans. COVID really did, because this was actually, had COVID not happened, this off season was when I was scheduled to move. And I guess I can reveal this. It was the 2019 Charlotte race. That was the Coke 600. That was my big senior trip. And for my dad, still can't thank him enough for that trip. Sidetrack, the highlight of that trip, my father and I were standing in the pit box right in front of Ryan Newman's car and we got to see Clint Boyer beat the crap out of him right in front of us. Arguably the highlight. That was probably one of the highlights of me being a race fan. And my dad to this day, he put his phone away the second Clint Boyer came over.
Oh, didn't even get it. Oh,
yeah. So moving on with that story, we were helping out Carl, obviously, and the one thing he told me when we left that trip is, "You move down here, I'll give you a job." And I stuck with that, and I told my dad on the way home, "This is what I want to do." My dad was fully supportive of it. And unfortunately, the pandemic hit, and it's just logistics, financially. Carl and I are still best buds, absolute best buds. And he always will invite me to work with him from time to time. But, and Carl, MBM Motorsports has gotten a lot more competitive. They've gotten some better people. I'll be honest with you. They've gotten a lot better people there that can get better equipment. And it's not a case of I don't feel like they need me, but I feel like now they have too many people. Well, to say like that, it's not like they're a full-fledged Hendrick organization, but I feel like they have enough people now to sustain 2 cars to the point where I don't feel like I could be enough of help. Now, obviously, if I still move down to North Carolina, I'm sure I would hope Carl would still honor that, because I would love to work for MBM Motorsports. But as far as we know now, I'm still in Iowa, Carl's still in North Carolina, and it's a dream.
Okay, I thought somebody else was gonna pick up there. You're fine. You ended on the perfect note. I was gonna let somebody else carry that one away. All right, so, dude, you are genuinely an interesting guy. First, let me just get that one out of the way. You are very insightful. I appreciate the value you put into stock car racing. I don't want to just say ARCA. I think stock car racing is a really good umbrella term to use. We're more on the Cup Series side of things. We loosely cover the Truck Series and we cover the Xfinity Series. We spend 10 minutes per series each week, and then the next 2.5 hours is just us talking about the Cup Series. So I definitely I respect 1,000,000% what you're doing, because I understand that ARCA is ultimately, the number one, at least for the last couple of years too, with the great talent that's came from. ARCA is really becoming the feeder series for NASCAR again, which is great to see. I mean, Ty Gibbs, Corey, name them, coming up through ARCA in the last few years, great talent. What do you hope to be able to bring to ARCA to raise that notoriety?
Man, I just hope to bring ARCA to show that maybe there's still some young fans in the sport. Because I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of ARCA fans really are kind of the older folks, because that's the series they really watched and supported throughout the time. If I had to be honest with you, I would say about 75% people over the age of 25 that watch the series. That people under 20, I honestly don't feel like we're gonna hit that demographic. Not because we can't. There's too much. Dirt racing, sports car racing, trucks, Xfinity Cup, too much.
Don't you think it would be easier in some ways just due to the fact that the drivers are in that demographic?
Yeah, it's just at the same time, though, some kids 18, they have trouble relating with others. I don't know. I even when I was 18, I couldn't relate to how they were acting. So I don't have the same mindset, I guess. What I kind of hope to bring is not really a factor of maybe about the drivers, but a factor of, the different parts of the series, because the way that the ARCA cars are made is still completely different from how even Xfinity and truck even Cup cars are made. Because when you go to Pocono, those things are skewed like crap. When it comes to the chassis are arguably, I wanted to get to this on here. I don't know if you guys have seen the couple of chassis videos I've done. Arguably the chassis part is my favorite part of ARCA, because for instance, the chassis that we run at Brad Smith Motorsports is Penske Racing South 69, which was built in August of 2003. I'm sure you guys have seen NASCAR Man's video. Amber Balkin ran a 23-year-old race car at Daytona this year, Con Nicolopoulos ran a 19-year-old race car at Daytona this year. It's really those stories I feel like that make ARCA special, and I want to try to bring to these young kids who are like, man, I'm 12 years old, but there's a race car out there that's older than me. You know, and I feel like that's a cool factor that maybe, you know, Xfinity, you know, and there's still some older chassis in Xfinity and the truck series, but I feel like ARCA really brings that factor of you take your kid to a race, and if we could bring those chassis stories public, I feel like that kid would look at that car and be like, wow, that car is older than me and it's still going.
Or like the dad is like, yeah, I was here when that car ran
exactly
20 years ago.
Yeah.
I've seen this car before. Yeah, because I mean, in the Cup Series, how often now do we see the same chassis for a long period of time? You know?
Yeah, I would say the only older, even this actually back in the Gen 6 days, but the only team that I really remember seeing old chassis stories about was Go Fast Racing, because they were running old Roush cars from like 2010.
Yep.
I mean, even then, I mean, I wish I asked Bob Pockris. He didn't answer me, obviously, but I'd like to think that Larson's Xfinity car he won at Watkins Glen was the Cup car he won with last year. It could have been. And I wish there was stories like that we could get out. Now, obviously, chassis information is kept mostly private, but I wish it was those kinds of stories we could bring out to the sport. And that includes the Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and, you know, before the next gen, the Cup Series. Because unfortunately, you know, we really have to rely on NASCAR, man, to find those chassis statistics, but I wish those were made more public. And
is there a reason that they're not?
You know, I mean, even I've had issues with it. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example at the Kansas race earlier this year. When I go to a specific ARCA race, I like to get the chassis numbers off of each car. And I'll normally get about half the field. Venerini build their own, Rev build their own. They don't usually buy. So I think that's another cool part. You still have ARCA teams that build their own chassis. Whereas, you know, you would expect most teams to buy, like JGR, obviously, or Kyle Busch Motorsports. You know, I don't know if it really is you know, I'll even say this. I'm not sure if this is the real rumor, but kind of what I was told by a couple of guys is the only reason why JGR was switched over to Kyle Busch Motorsports was because TMC and FedEx couldn't be affiliated with the same team. That was really, that to me, that's where I feel like the reason why Kyle Busch Motorsports is the owner of that ARCA team, because TMC and FedEx can't be together. That was a little, because if you notice, the 81 car that Brandon Jones has been running, that's still under Joe Gibbs Racing. So,
interesting. That is very interesting.
Do you think
it's a nice little tidbit?
Do you think maybe another reason why they don't want to get the chassis stories out there is because like teams don't want to like show everybody, every other team, like what chassis they're running, so they don't like maybe get an advantage?
I can agree with that. I can agree with that for sure. And you know, I've gotten some pretty rude answers asking for chassis numbers. For the biggest answer is why, and I just tell them my story and reasoning. They're like, well, no, and you can leave. And I'm like, okay, I'll leave. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, the ARCA Garage is a family, but if they don't want to answer a question, they don't want to answer a question.
Right.
But yeah, Venerini's always been cool with that, you know, and Billy's, you know, Billy's got his haters, but Billy Venerini really is a good guy. I have nothing bad to say about Billy Venerini. And I will say his take on Drew Dollar this year at Kansas, still my favorite moment, favorite interview he's ever done.
I feel like that's the reason like why Billy's the way he is, because I mean he just cares like so much about his race team. He just wants to keep his equipment safe and stick up for his team. I mean, there's really nothing wrong with that. And yeah, I do agree. That was probably the best thing that happened this season. So
this is going to be a risky question, but I'll ask it anyways.
Sure.
Might not be able to. Does the ARCA Garage agree with Billy for the most part?
You beat me to it.
I knew you were going to go for it, man.
About Drew Dollar?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if I should answer this. Yes.
Yes.
You should have seen the comments that Wayne Peterson said about Riley Herbst.
I feel like I remember that.
Trust me, the best comment that I can tell you now, I mean, I hope Riley doesn't see this, but the best thing was the 2018 ARCA race at Iowa. Wayne Peterson just told me again, just saying, You couldn't put a broom in that car and it would do better than him.
Oh my god!
It's funny because I say that same thing on the show every single week about him.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm the Ford guy of this group, so like I got to pay attention to Riley. So
yeah, and I'll even and I'll admit, has Riley gotten better? Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
dude,
I will
tremendously.
agree with that.
This season, yeah.
Absolutely. And we trash on him. I want Riley to succeed 100%. And if Drew Dollar does come back, because I believe he's hung it up for a while to pursue college, I believe, I want him to succeed.
It might be a good thing for him.
Yeah, I've always said on my show, and I've always been out there, no matter how much I criticize, I never want any driver to fail, ever. I want every driver who comes into ARCA, trucks, Xfinity Cup, sports cars to succeed. Never want anyone to fail, because I think that's the wrong type of mentality to have as a race fan. We should always, even if you don't like him, because I tell you, Dalton, I'm sorry, never been the biggest Kyle Busch fan, but I'll admit, never wanted him to fail. And when he got hurt, I was the biggest Kyle Busch supporter ever, because, especially I think it was the 2015, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yep.
I was absolutely, full sympathetic. I was part of the group that sent, get well cards to his hospital room, and it just
yeah, Dalton's about to pull out Kleenexes and start crying now.
Yeah, I'm sorry to bring that up, but I just wanted to use that as an example.
I wanted to hear that, man. That's awesome.
I'm sorry. I never want anyone to fail, because I feel like that's just the wrong type of mentality to have as a race fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sucks because like our job, I mean, this is what this show's about. That's what you do. We got to comment on stuff.
Yeah.
If we're just cookie cutter about it for 10 minutes or an hour, or in our case, 2 hours, then nobody's going to want to hear it. But, say somebody makes a mistake. I mean, somebody on this show has got to be like, what the hell, man?
And that's what I do. Trust me, there's a lot of questionable moves in the ARCA series. There's a lot of drivers in the series, that even I can agree need more seat time before they come into the series. But I'm not going to sit down and say that I don't want them to succeed. I just want them to drop maybe down to a lower division and then come back.
Yeah, see, and I talk the same way, especially when I'm talking about like UFC, for example. Dude, I can say that a fighter sucks and he's going to get his ass beat, this or that. But I also acknowledge at the same time, if I were to get into the octagon with that guy, he would rip me to shreds. Same way, any of those guys who are out there racing every single week, like, I guarantee you Drew Dollar is going to beat me in any four-wheeled, two-wheeled vehicle that you put me up against him in. But, I mean, I still think he's just a terrible driver, but he's still going to beat me. It's so, like, I always maintain that level of respect at a minimum for him.
And, and I could honestly, appoint the same, I don't know how you guys could agree. I hope you guys agree with this, but I could say the same thing about Natalie Decker, really. As much as we all could criticize her, if the four of us and her got into a stock car race, relatively, who's going to win? Seriously.
Oh, dude, I'm coming in last. I'm ending up in the wall turn one.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, as much as we rag on Natalie Decker, I mean, she doesn't blow anything up. I mean, how many engine failures has she ever had? And relatively, I mean, even when you look at her 2019 trucks season, how many of those crashes really were her fault? I mean, a lot of them were.
Haley Deegan syndrome right now. She's got the same problem.
Yeah.
I think my favorite Natalie Decker moment, though, of all time was the Bristol one. The Bristol, like, that is one of my favorite sound bites to go back and rewatch.
I felt so sorry for her that night, man.
Same. I mean, I was laughing, but I felt sorry.
Yeah.
Dude, I know how that would feel, like being in the trunk, like you're a wreck because you wrecked. This man is screaming in your ear and like you do something wrong and then he's like, I'm out of here. I would have a panic attack.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I should say this on live, but let's just say Frank Kerr was happy to leave DGR.
Oh, I'm sure.
Something that I thought about today, I saw Natalie, she posted a picture of her Busch sponsorship. And, Busch had that female driver sponsorship there for a while. Has Busch really...
I can't get into that. Trust me.
Yeah. Not at all? Oh, man.
Let's just say the logistics behind that are not what they appear to be.
Huh.
Not surprised in the
Colby
least bit.
is the most interesting person I've ever seen, and I don't take this the wrong way, but I cannot wait for this show to not be live because I want to ask these questions.
Because sidetrack. She gets a lot of hate, but I will say this: Tony Breidinger has become one of my great friends in the ARCA garage. One of the sweetest girls I have personally ever met in my entire life. And she was kind of the one who told me the truth. I can't say it live. Absolutely cannot say it live. I will get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
Let's just we'll put it at that.
Yeah. All right. You can ask Cody. Usually, I'm not the one asking. It's usually Cody asking the questions that are like,
yeah, the hard hitting.
I've kind of been on fire.
Yeah, the cowboy hat. You got like a little journalist pencil in your ear.
I do, man. Yeah, that's right.
Black cat, man.
You still got that lamp, dude? Because I saw the other
yes.
episode.
Where's the lamp?
It. I wish I had something like that on my bedside, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
The lamp.
I actually want to go back to Amber and Tony. So we've got a lot of diversity in the ARCA series. I think we have like 6 female ARCA series drivers.
Which that's got to set a record, right?
That did set a new record, yes.
What was the previous record? Do you know?
I think it was either 4 or 5. I mean, we just barely beat it, but it was. ARCA is definitely, I could say, has had the most women in the series. Some of them have been better than others, but I really think when you look at it, at the end of the day, as much as we criticize, I think it goes back to what we were talking to about 3 or 4 minutes ago. Balkin, Breidinger, and Decker, for as much hate as we give them, they can still strap into a race car. They can still go 180 miles per hour. They might tear up some stuff, but they're still really talented.
What was the consensus like on Decker? Or not Decker, I'm sorry, Deegan.
Man,
was it just like a lot of star power? Like, I mean, is that kind of what because that's the way like I kind of saw it.
What is consensus? I'm sorry. Can you explain that to me real quick?
Yeah. So like overall, like, did the majority of the garage like Deegan and her presence, or did everybody kind of see her as more of like the celebrity there?
Again, I'm gonna have to keep that private for the sake of Brian Deegan not being mad at me.
Okay, and that's one person I would not want mad at me, so I respect that.
I'm not picking anybody off in the metal militia.
Yeah, it's fine.
I also want to talk about Amber real quick because I will come out and say this. Back in 2019, I did watch every episode of Racing Wives.
Same.
And I followed Amber's story about wanting to sign with Kyle Busch Motorsports. She was in deep talks with Samantha Busch. So can you just talk about Amber for me real quick and maybe explain to the audience, why she could be like maybe the best female driver to cheer for?
I could definitely see it. She's had some tough luck this season. I mean, 5 straight crash DNFs will frustrate anyone. I think it's just a case of, Kyle Busch, COVID really scaled back Kyle's late model program for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's where I can believe she wanted to go. She made a couple of starts, but kind of where she went to the, I don't know if you guys remember this. You guys remember the Bill McAnally Drivers Academy?
I feel like I've heard of it.
I don't know if I do or not.
It sounds familiar.
Bill McAnally had his own Drivers Academy that ran about, I don't know if this was 2020 or last season. They ran about 30 races, and at the end of the year, somebody was supposed to get a full-time ride in the trucks. That didn't happen. Or a truck start. I still don't think it happened. But it was literally 3 cars almost every race. It was the 99 of Colmore, the 10 of Amber Balkin. That's where she got her sponsor, Icon Dynamics, and just maybe 1 or 2 random entries. And that's really where I would say she came in. Yes, Ryan. Yeah, Kyle still has his late models, of course, but since COVID, he has scaled back his late model organization. I do hope it comes back, though, because
same.
Yeah, I do hope it comes back full time, but he definitely still has them. It's not like he got rid of them. But yeah, continuing on with Amber, she progressed. I mean, was she last in almost every race? Yes, but there were only 3 cars. She made some starts for Bill McAnally. Didn't really go very well. I think Red Jones Racing is a good team for her. It's not a team that has, I would say winning equipment. They're not going to go out there and beat Venerini or KBM by any means, even with the right driver. But I think it's definitely a good team for her to be in. I just think it's a case of her finding the balance, hitting her points, and not overdriving the car. And unfortunately for her case, she's just been in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Like, man, I'm not going to lie. Her Watkins Glen crash, I felt bad for her. Oh, my God. That was just the worst luck. And the worst part about it is the guy who wrecked her was a Watkins Glen driving instructor.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
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 You know, and then she went to Springfield, and they I don't think that they were supposed to use that car, but they actually had to use one of their old Toyotas as a backup car, and she almost junked that thing too. I definitely, to answer your question, Dalton, I think she will go farther than people think she will.
Oh,
and do I think, though, she has the talent of Deegan? Right now, no. But I want my mind to be changed. But I do believe she needs. Does she deserve a chance? Yes, absolutely deserves a chance. But right now, I see Deegan as the main female star.
Oh man. Well,
yes, King of the Trill, absolutely. She spun 9 times at Mid Ohio. That was very painful to watch. Yes, talked to Bryce Haugeberg on my recent one of my most recent episodes of the ARCA podcast. I'm sure you guys did. You guys see that crash at Springfield?
Did.
Oh yeah.
Bryce, unfortunately, you guys want to know why he was stopped on track? First off, I guess I can kind of go over it. I'm sure you guys saw the ARCA video that was posted. There were a lot of reasons why that race went so poorly. Number one, we had a lot of rain. You know, and rain on a dirt track is just god awful. And so, you know, they were rushing to prep the track because at 4 p.m. Central Time that day, there was a concert scheduled to go on for the Illinois State Fair. And man, I wish I could remember who it was off the top of my head, but needless to say, they didn't want to move the time. So ARCA was rushing to get the start ready. They ran some practice laps. Needless to say, the track was still not ready, but we had to go anyway. And almost every car in the field was destroyed because the track was just not ready. We just had to go anyway. We had to go. And unfortunately, due to the cautions we were having, the race was going to get cut short. There was no way we could get the 100 laps in by the time 4 o'clock had hit. So basically, it was at the call. Whatever lap we were on at lap 70, or at lap, we stopped on lap 70, of course, but whatever lap we were on at 4 p.m., checkered flag. We had to make that call, unfortunately. So for the people who were saying we can't even finish our races, well, there's your reason. Okay, so number one, shut up.
Yeah.
Number two, Buddy Kofoid and Jesse Love were putting on a hell of a battle. And Buddy Kofoid, in my opinion, is the future of dirt racing. Great kid, great driver. I think the only reason why he didn't pass Jesse Love, it was Buddy's first time in a stock car. I think that's the only reason why he couldn't pass him. We were getting to the last lap. Bryce was ahead of the leaders. He came off of turn 4. I think he said he blew a tire. He hit the wall. And the problem with a dirt track is, well, when you have a flat tire, you don't just keep going. You go into the dirt. So he basically went from 70 miles to 0, and he was stuck. He was not moving, but he wanted to stay on the outside, so hopefully the leaders would go on the inside. Unfortunately, with a lot of the rain, though, created dust. And it was just a case of Buddy just couldn't see him. And it's one of those crashes where the spotters, you can't react in time. Everyone's like, well, he's got a spotter. Well, you know, I've been a spotter. It is not easy, dude. I mean, when you got 3 seconds of reaction time, by the time you're saying inside, it's too late.
Where were the leaders at around the time he came to like his resting place on the track?
Literally about 2 seconds behind him. I mean, that spotter, and even if that spotter said go inside, it was too late. It was unfortunately a wreck that was going to happen. And the crash photos are just unbelievable. And I thank the Lord that fuel cell was empty. Because if that fuel tank had been full, I don't think Bryce would have been with us today, because it was an amazing crash. A crash I wish wouldn't have happened, because that was one of Bryce's only cars. But it was just a bad case of bad timing. and to see someone make a video on it and bury the series, it pissed. And I can't cuss, but it pissed me off. And, I went off on it because, if you base the series off of that crash alone, first off, the audience that you have, what you're telling your audience is don't even give this series a chance, which aren't you supposed to help racing? Aren't you supposed to bring more fans into circuits? Like, come on, man. Like, do your damn research.
This particular guy that we're talking about, I don't think they care about helping the sport at all. I think they care about gaining personal popularity.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say his name, but
we all know
that video pissed me off, dude. And
I'm really glad you talked about all this because I was gonna ask for your reaction because there were a lot of people saying why is ARCA even a series? We should really shut this series down. I'm like seriously, that's just not the way to go.
No, and it just when he started asking those questions and it's just that video. It's just, and when you got ARCA's PR director calling you out on Twitter, you've effed up.
Yep.
Well, what was funny is this is how I found out about the video. We somebody tagged us in that guy's tweet, and they actually tagged you with us, and they were like, "Hey, you should go on one of these shows." And that's probably a long shot, but I was like, "Yeah, I'm more than glad to." If what I'm saying is the door is open. I would love to have people set the record straight on that because it was bullshit. I'll say bullshit.
And and again, hey Ryan, it's fine. I mean, the guy, and I'm not saying he's not a bad guy. He's not a horrible person for doing that. It's how he feels. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. We understand that. And it's just, there's some videos that legitimately piss people off, not because they just don't like the guy, but because the video is under-researched. The video had no good points, and he just buried the series outright. No positives whatsoever. And that was my biggest complaint of the video. Outright buried the series. And Warren, and I agree to an extent, the ARCA E-Series needs a major rehaul. I completely agree with that. The ARCA West Series, I feel like the ARCA West Series, we know the West Series, the real world issues right now, it's taken a beating on the West Circuit right now. We have just 13 cars for Portland. And again, I think it's just the real world issues, especially when it comes to fuel prices. But, the main series this year, how can you bury a series when we've had, comparing car counts to last season, we have been up every single race this season has been up in car counts. And we've had some banger races. Did any of you guys watch the Michigan race?
Yes, I did watch the Michigan race.
They were side by side almost every lap. Amazing battle. Sanchez with clearly not the best car, but managing to hold them off. Did you watch the Xfinity race as well?
At Michigan?
Yes.
I did.
Oh, man, I want to say
I did.
Who won?
Gibbs.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I did watch it.
I will flat out say that ARCA race at Michigan was better than the Xfinity race at Michigan.
It really was.
The finish with the ARCA race was absolutely fire, man.
I feel like it was the whole race. I just feel like the problem is you look at a race like that, the things that people are going to find about this series, well, what about that 48 car that was 7 seconds off the pace? And that person is like, why are you focusing on that? You're trying to find the negativity. Find the dang positivity, man. Like, why are you there to just be negative? Like, don't watch a race to be negative. I understand him, and I'm even critical of our own team. I'm not going to lie. 48 team, us, Brad Smith, we're in the way, a lot. I'm not going to deny we're not. But at the end of the day, Brad's a blue-collar guy. We're out there to have fun. We're running an 18-year-old car with who knows how old that motor is.
Guarantee that the dude in question hasn't stepped foot at a local track and see what it's like to run when you have other jobs to do Monday through Friday.
Well, unfortunately, that one guy is the media guy for the Nashville Fairgrounds, so he does. Yes,
ARCA Mid-Ohio was better than the
King of the Thrill, man. I think Parker Kligerman won made it great, but I agree. The rain race at ARCA Mid-Ohio was 1,000 times better and more entertaining than that truck race, even though I think we can all agree Parker Kligerman winning was a...
Oh, dude, yeah. So, Team Henderson, they're actually Yeah, so they're from Abingdon, Virginia, which is only like, dude,
Not far from
40
us.
yeah, 40 minutes away from where we're from. So it's really cool. They're kind of like a hometown team for us.
They're like
They're kind of the case of we run part-time to be competitive or run full-time and run 20th.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think their schedule is incredible. And I mean, dude, Parker has just drove the hell out of that truck this season. Real quick though, on this topic that we're on, I always like to play the devil's advocate. So, do you not think that it has been beneficial in some ways though for general publicity for ARCA?
Explain that. Sorry.
So, yeah. So the video that came out, obviously it was spicy. Do you think that regardless though, while it may have peddled some like misinformation, do you think that the overall publicity has helped out ARCA?
Yes. I can agree with that. Yes, it did get ARCA into, unfortunately, more. But the problem is, my take on that though is more of negative light. Yes, it got more publicity, but more in a negative fashion rather than a positive fashion. But I do agree. Yes, it did get more publicity, but for the wrong reasons.
Do you think that any publicity is good publicity, or not in this case?
Man, that is a good question.
That was a good question.
I would say most of the time any publicity is good publicity, but I think with a more well-researched video, it would have definitely helped out more.
Okay.
Can I ask? Screw it. I'll ask it anyways. Has anybody reached out? Like, or has he reached out and like? Is he doubled back on anything since this has happened? Because I mean, like you said, like the PR guy from ARCA did call him out.
He said he was going to make a follow-up video, and we've yet to see that. And I mean,
do you think it's going to be one of those like just sitting in a room with a ring light in your face, and it's like it's time for me to rectify my wrongs, and then just 15 minutes later,
no, I mean.
I can see the rage in your eyes when you're talking about this.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, though, what made me even more mad was, if you know, I mean, heck, if we're on this topic, he messed up so many things on that Russell Phillips video. He didn't even get his age right.
Wikipedia research, my man.
Oh my God! I'm like, dude, I'll blow a gasket on here. Like, the one that pissed me off the most was Blaze Alexander. Because what I did, I started that video and I went to his Wikipedia page and I followed it word for word for word for word.
Oh. Yeah.
And that's why, and I'll shout out right here for my channel, I guess, we will be doing a real documentary on Blaze Alexander in the future.
And I love this. I love talking about this. Because I feel like me and you are on the same page for sure.
You know, and I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm just saying, I mean, he's not as bad as NRF. Okay, he's not as bad as him.
God, don't even get me started.
It takes a long ways to get as bad as NRF. But even his reaction to Tanner Gray, I'm like, know the facts before you even say. I mean, like, first off, I heard the video, and I'm like. That's not Tanner Gray's voice. Why the heck are we freaking out about this? Any sensible human could realize that was not Tanner's voice.
Yeah.
I've met him multiple times. He's nothing but a great person.
Well, I mean, it's also too like in your situation, right? Like you're making videos and you're an ARCA dude. You know that's where you come from. Like the whole sense of the job point is to make relationships within ARCA, right? Like you got to be able to walk into ARCA and be like, "Hey, I need a media pass," and they go, "Oh, okay, here's your media pass." You know, when you do something.
Who could forget when he ranted about not getting one at Nashville?
Oh, never forget.
And you know, and you know, I'll just say for me, it's like when I walk into that ARCA garage area, here comes Big Bill on his scooter, fist bump. I say hi to the ARCA officials. They say hi back. I say hi to Billy, you know, and he's great. Mark McFarland, awesome dude. You know, I say hi to Tony. I say any driver who's out, I just say hi to them. They'll just say hi back because we're a family, man. You know, and honestly, the best part about ARCA is you know, I think the nicest part is a lot of ARCA teams realize how much, you know, the lower teams and us are struggling. So I feel like one of the nicest things the teams can do is they don't pay us. They pay us in the best way that low budget teams could possibly save money. They trade in their practice sets. Instead of getting credit back, they trade them to us. That's how Brad gets a lot of his tires. A lot of his tires come from practice sets that the teams will transfer to him. And to me, that just shows, number one, he might be slow, but look at how much respect he has in that garage. Look at how much respect Peterson still has in that garage, you know? And it's just, it's that type of family that you don't get in the Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and Cup Series. And that's another reason why I love this series so much. And first off, I'll just say Wayne Peterson, the best history teacher ever, fought in the war, Nixon's translator. The amount of stories that man has told me, just he's the best. I should also say you know what? I can't say that story. Nope, I cannot say that story.
Well, you know, and that's something. I mean, Cody. I mean, I know that you're going to say this. When we started this forever ago, Dalton, I can't include this on you because you didn't come until later. I apologize. But Cody, when me and you started, I mean, really, this started out as a conversation. We were like, we're going into this learning, and the only thing that we could do is just say what we knew was fact, and then maybe theorize a little bit, but we never wanted to absolutely stretch the truth.
Oh, dude, anytime, and this is still to this day, this is a big thing on the show. If somebody says something and one of us know for a fact that it is not true, we call them out right there on the spot. Or when we start, like, I'm bad for it. I have a decent memory when it comes to paraphrasing, but you don't always want to paraphrase, right? So I'm really bad about being like, to paraphrase, and then Dalton's always like, hold on, let me get the actual quote. So that's one thing about us, and I do pride us in that. We are goofy. Our show is not serious, but at the same time, it holds enough integrity. Right. It holds enough integrity to where, like, at least what we're saying, though, while we throw our opinions, when we throw our opinions, we let it be known that it is strictly opinion and not, a fact. You know, I have some spicy opinions about some drivers. You know, some I like, some I don't. But I can't sit here. Brad Keselowski is a meme on our show. Any chance that we all get, we rag on Brad because Jacob loves Brad.
I do too.
A lot of the people in our chat love Brad, but it's funny when we start ragging on him because it gets everybody riled up. Now,
it'll get me riled up.
Right, yeah. And, at the end of the day, though, like, I could say Brad is a wrecking ball, blah, 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 but it stops there. It's a joke, right? Like, it is. Brad's a champion. Like, he's a proven winner in the sport. Damn good driver. And once again, if I were to race him, he's going to beat me every day of the week. So that's like, we always try. Yeah, see?
Joe, man, I don't know if I'd say GOAT, but
thank you, Trill.
Thank you, Trill. Good job, King.
That's kind of our shtick. Half the interviews, I can't say that. Yeah, that proves both sides of us. We're doing our job and he's doing his, because we're asking the questions that he can't answer, and he's doing his job by not answering.
Joe, I'm sorry, man. I would answer these, but I got a lot of friends who, man, when this interview is over, if it gets out, oh, geez, it's going to end real badly for me.
Just be like Kyle Busch, say, okay.
Everything is great. Looking back and forth to get back in the race car.
or no, I was going to say, okay, here's the story. There is no story.
Where will Darlington rank on the gravy gauge?
What's the gravy gauge?
Yeah, how is the gravy gauge scaled?
I had the same damn question.
I feel like that's a shitpost joke that I don't get. It's over my head.
I mean, I'll admit right here, right now, Darlington. I'm glad it has 2 dates again. One of my favorite tracks.
Oh man, this is off topic and not to derail the show, but I went to a concert this weekend in Nashville and I wore my Danica Patrick T-shirt.
You went to Nashville?
Yes.
I went to Nashville, man. Sorry, Dal, I didn't come see you. I was in a hurry, man.
Don't wait. Just to clarify, you and Jacob still have only like been around each other twice now, right? Or no, 3 times, right? Like you're still like y'all still haven't hung out a lot. That's
Not
so
really,
funny
no.
to me.
But I was at this concert with a Danica Patrick T-shirt on. It was her double. It was Danica's double T-shirt I bought a while back, where she ran the Indy 500 and the Daytona 500. And this guy, I watched him from the back of the crowd beeline towards me, and I was like, "What's this guy doing? Is he going to punch me in the face?" And he come over here and got like right next to me, and he was drunk, and he was like, "Dude, is that a Danica T-shirt?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you really part of the Danica Army?" And I was like, "Is that a thing?" And he's like, "Dude, that's a thing." He's like, "You're part of the Danica Army." And I was like, "Are you a NASCAR guy?" So he lifts up his band T-shirt, right? And he lifts up his band T-shirt, and the shirt under the band T-shirt he was wearing was Travis Tritt.
What?
And I don't know what that means.
If you love Travis Tritt, obviously you love NASCAR.
I just stared at him. I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm a huge fan of Travis. So what's that mean?" He was like, and he just walks off, man. And it's been up in my brain, noodling around since yesterday. Oh,
did you wear that hat and get mistaken as Toby Keith? Dude, that shirt is sick.
That is a nice shirt.
I have the Bucky's like button up where he's in space.
Oh,
I got the one of him in the race car.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Actually, me and Cooper both bought that shirt when we went to the Daytona 500 this year.
I need a NASCAR Bucky shirt.
What were you saying?
Sidetrack to that question, actually, Dalton. Are you guys going to be at Daytona next year?
Doesn't look like it. No.
I am going to the Daytona 500. I've got to. Yeah, I have to go.
I don't think I should go to the Daytona 500 again, to be honest with you. I think this year's trip just.
You don't get any camera time.
I'm sorry, Dalton. I knew that was you instantly, but I'm like, oh, I feel so bad for him because not only were you pissed, but it got on national television.
Dude, it was incredible. Dalton's ego inflated by it. It didn't bother him in the least bit.
I've always wanted to get on TV for like reacting to something, but like I didn't think it was gonna be like that. My mom was pretty pissed about it, but like the reaction I got was just amazing.
Hey, that's passion, dude. That's all I can tell you. It's passion, and that's one thing I can appreciate. If you are that passionate about your driver, you are a real NASCAR fan. Damn right about that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Oh, and also, I don't know if you saw this, but I was on Dale Jr.'s. Well, I got mentioned on the Dale Jr. download the very next day after that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cody. I just had to put that out there.
See what I mean by that ego? Real quick. So the gravy gauge is our version of Eric's groovy gauge. The gravy gauge.
Gravy.
Okay,
gravy.
so the gravy gauge is now officially a part of LTC.
Love it. I love the name.
Yeah. So my gravy gauge on Darlington, I think it's gonna. This is bad because I don't like gravy. So I'll give it a 0 on my gravy gauge, which means it's gonna be a thumbs up.
Dude, I'll give it a young because it's gonna be young gravy, bro.
He's coming to ETSU.
I know, man. I heard that.
Get money.
Keep your mamas at home.
I guess I'll do the same as Cody. I don't like gravy, so I'll get a thumbs up.
I guess we all don't like gravy because
Jacob definitely likes gravy,
dude.
Look, the cowboy hat gives it away.
Yep.
Copperhead loves gravy.
I keep calling you Jacob by accident. Sorry, Copperhead.
It's all right, man. Hey, I think that should be the cowboy hat fight. Let's see how much gravy me and Matt can inhale.
Yeah,
just
that
gravy.
Works.
You're gonna look so damn good in that cowboy hat with a bacon outfit.
89%. Oh. The gravy gauge is percentage based. So I'll give Darlington, for it to be like kicking off the Cup Series playoffs, then I'll give it 100%.
100.
And also because I'm going. So
I wish I could go. Trust me. Yeah,
I've never been.
I'll stick at 100.
Pain.
Thanks, Ryan.
Pain. All right. So I'm trying to think of any other fun topics we could discuss and cover.
One thing I actually wanted to tell Dalton this is so I told you at the start of this show I was never really the big Kyle Busch fan. So I wanted to ask you guys, Dalton, who do you do you have any NASCAR merchandise of a driver you don't like?
I did have to buy a Joey Logano shirt last year because I lost a bet.
You threw it away, didn't you?
I did. I'm like, I don't want this shit, so just...
Could have donated it or anything, but you chose to throw it away.
Whoops. I'm trying to think if I have anything else, but I think that's about it.
Because the reason why I ask you that question, and it is for the other two guys, but the reason why I asked that is I could not stand Kyle Busch for the longest time, yet I have 15 Kyle Busch 124 scales in my collection.
Really? I
cannot stand Joey Logano, yet I have 10 Joey Loganos in my collection, all signed, by the way, as well. So not only do I don't like him, but I still wanted to get my stuff signed. And believe it or not, I mean, I don't like Kyle that much, but I will say one of my crown jewel die casts is the Indiana Jones car.
Oh, I have that one downstairs. And it's Darlington race win.
One of my crown jewel die casts, and in my opinion, probably one of the rarest was his 2008 Mexico win die cast.
I don't have that one.
That one took me a long time to find, and I really say it's one of my crown jewel die casts, despite it being a driver that I don't like. So,
yeah, I'll try to collect like all 60 of his Cup wins so far.
There you are. You don't like Larson?
No, I'm not a Larson guy.
But you have a cardboard cutout of him too.
I have a Todd Kluber shirt. That's my one that I just could care less about. But I love the shirt just because of what went behind that car.
And God, let's see here. I think I had a story to tell Dalton. So it was the 2010 nationwide race at Iowa. I had just turned 9 years old. Kyle Busch won, absolutely dominated. And again, I'm 9 years old. We live in a family. We were a junior family, so we were not Kyle Busch fans.
And that was the year after the Richmond thing, so yeah.
Yeah, a couple years after the Richmond thing. But Kyle Busch, it was Kyle Busch nonetheless. And I'm 9 years old, no garage pass whatsoever. He's walking back through the garage area. I presume back to his hauler to probably change. Nobody's looking. I see the moment. I grab my hero card. I bolt right into the garage area. Security is right on my ass. I make it to Kyle. They're trying to escort me out. God bless his PR man. I wish I would have gotten his contact information, told them to back off. I got the signature, and then they kindly escorted me back out of the garage area.
Yeah.
And my dad gave me the biggest fist bump and biggest hug ever. And they kindly say, if you ever do that again, you're banned. So, but I didn't care. But that's probably my favorite Kyle Busch story. And again, that's coming from a fan who didn't like him, but I still wanted to meet him. And again, that's what I love about the series so much is, again, hot take. I'm sorry if someone doesn't like this. I can't stand Chase Elliott.
Oh, Cody's about to. He's
Cody.
hurt.
Cody, I love you, man, but I'm sorry. I cannot stand Chase Elliott. But here's the thing. I have, count them, 22 Chase Elliott diecasts, including his ARCA car, in my collection, and over half of them are signed.
That's sick. Did he sign them? I mean, obviously he signed them, duh. But I mean, did you get them signed by him?
And that's actually been my thing as a race fan. I hate buying autographed diecasts because I want that satisfaction of getting that car signed. And
right, yeah, that way you have that memory that's attached to it.
And I guess this story will be for you, Cody. All three of his Xfinity wins from 2014, I had gotten all three. I took him to the 2015 Iowa race. I walked right up to him with all three of the boxes squished together. I asked, can you sign all three? His PR guy said 1. I said 3. He said 1. He said, we kept going back and forth, and Chase just got all three. And to his PR guy, I said, ha
ha. Dude, I mean,
I love that.
Yeah, why would you be so hard about that?
Like, because you know, and I'll be honest, you know, if
you were a grown man at that point, like if you're in your 40s, then yeah, I see it. But if you're like an excited little kid, like carrying some cars up, I don't know, that frustrates me.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, and I don't care if this does ruffle some feathers. There are some PR people out there that I've met who are lovely. Dale Jr.'s PR person, absolutely the greatest person ever. What that person has had to deal with in terms of the fans, how professional that person was through all that time. God bless that person for how nice. But there are some out there who will just say, "Get out of here, he ain't signing." And to me, that's just a little wrong.
Yeah.
It takes away the like we said, it takes away that human interaction.
Yeah, you know, yeah, and again, and that's, man, I keep finding ways to bring up ARCA. How many ARCA drivers have PR people? None. You can literally walk up to them. How many truck drivers got PR people? About half. How many Xfinity drivers got PR people? 2/3. But it's those other people that don't have them. You go to them because their PR person is themselves. And to me, that's the best person. Like, I'm sure you guys know who he is. Me, Ryan Vargas, one of the best. Ryan Vargas.
Such a marketable guy. Such a marketable guy.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've had all these experiences. I'm definitely blessed to have them. I just wanted to share those stories. And again, Cody, I'm sorry. You are the best. You obviously are my friend, but I'm sorry. I don't know. I just fell out of favor with Chase after about 2019 or something. I don't know what it was.
Thank you.
It's fine. I mean, I get it. So like I have like a tier of drivers. I'm not that guy who just like attaches to one specific driver anymore. It hurt me enough as a kid to where I just wanted to have like multiple guys who had a shot. I was a Dale Jr. and a Carl Edwards fan, so I'm sure you can imagine the pain that I've gone through. It was rough, but so yeah, I'm a Bubba, Reddick, and Chase Elliott fan. Those are my guys. Ross Chastain just has a special place in my heart, just because he's Ross Chastain. I do have a couple of questions for you in the comments. First, who is your favorite driver? Let's run through each series, actually. So who is your current favorite ARCA driver, favorite truck, Xfinity, and Cup driver?
Favorite ARCA driver? Well, I can't say Brad because that'd be cliche. Honestly, I'd have to go with Zachary Tinkle. I think he's one of the unsung heroes of ARCA, and he got into a Peterson car and outran Tony and Amber on pace. And I think if you give that kid some real equipment, he could be a star of ARCA. He's a natural talent, absolute natural talent. Truck series, man, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go with Timmy Hill. Or if you want to give a close second place, Matt Crafton. For some reason, my father my father and I have always had a soft spot for Matt Crafton. Xfinity series, JJ Ailey. A lot of people do not like JJ Ailey. I will say he got rushed too quickly at JGR. And
I remember that. Yeah.
What he did for Rick Ware Racing, I think, proved all he needed was a little bit more time. And as for Cup, Brad.
You're Brad guy. Okay.
Yeah, and I still am. We're having a really, really, really rough season, but it's like you pick your guy and you stick with him through the really, really rough times. And boy, we're in some right now. Man, Dalton, your guy's not having the best season, but mine is having an even worse.
Yeah, and I'm a little worried about where he's going next year, so I might have to be on the same boat with you.
Oh, geez. Man, speaking of that, obviously I cannot tell you, Dalton, but let's just say I have quite a few inside sources right now. And I'll tell you this, he has a ride. That I figured. He has a ride. He will be in the Cup Series next year. And honestly, if it falls apart, I was told that he does have a ride, but obviously it could fall apart. But I was told right now that he has a ride for next season. And it might shock you. It's not Rick Ware. Don't not worry. It is not Rick Ware Racing.
Darn it.
Damn.
Where's Eric at? Where's Eric at in the chat?
And that is no hate to Rick Ware because Rick Ware is one of my favorite teams. Cody Ware, every Cody Ware hater I want to beat the crap out of because that kid has a heck of a story. and he could be easily marketable.
Okay, so
Matt
this
Bowen.
actually leads right in, and I fully agree with you. I love Cody Ware, actually. What do you think of Todd Gilliland and Cody Ware, the guys who get an unnecessary amount of Twitter hate?
It's so unfair. And, honestly, the funny part is I was a Cody Ware hater. I did not like him. I thought he was rushed way too quickly to a cup car. And I'll say it was really kind of, the mental story he put on about himself. It made me feel bad that I criticized him so much. Not really kind of a sympathetic, but I'm like, okay, I'm really going to look at this guy. But it was the 2021 fall race at Kansas. I talked to him for a good 15 minutes. And it's a 15 minutes I wish I could have recorded. A great guy. He's not a spoiled brat. He's just a guy who is happy to be there, thankful for these opportunities. And man, does he know how to sponsor plug Nurtec ODT. He is a great, I wish they could, if the reason why they didn't interview him at Daytona, I don't know why. He could have gotten all the sponsor plugs for Nurtec he wanted. Todd Gilliland, I just feel like he's in a ride that gets criticized because the 38 FRM car, Alfredo Spaghetti guy, he didn't do much. Nemechek, it was a ride that didn't fit him because he overdrove it every race. And I just feel like that ride, I don't feel like it's Gilliland. I feel like it's that ride. It's the 38 car that I feel like is criticized. But I think you saw Watkins Glen. He was leading the race and an axle broke. I mean, like, come on.
So I have a fun fact on Toddy Boy. He has only finished lower than he started 3 times this season. I mean, the dude in my opinion, I think he has looked the best in the 38 out of the last 3 drivers in it.
Yeah,
and I can agree with that over Nemechek, mainly because Nemechek, again, he just tried to overdrive. He overdrove it too much, and that's why he crashed every dang race, almost, because he overdrove it. And then it's like, he went back down to the truck series and is moving his way back up. But Gilliland, I'm very happy. David Gilliland, he always had a soft spot in my heart, so obviously I was going to cheer his son. But I will say, though, the inside workings of NASCAR media is definitely weird. It is weird because you hear all these types of rumors. Finding out about the Kurt Busch news before it got pushed online shocked me. I didn't want to leak it because I'm like, you don't want to be that guy. You do not want to be that guy that leaks it because then you feel like, oh, you're just doing this for clout. And that's the one thing I've never wanted to be as a NASCAR media guy is leaking it for the sake of clout. Don't want to be that guy because I feel like you lose a lot of your credibility like we've seen with some people.
Yeah.
Facts, bro. Listen, you're preaching to the choir. Dude, I want to thank you for coming on. This has been so much fun. I guess now's probably the time for us to wrap it up. We have had a 2-hour interview. I know.
I don't want this to be over, man.
No, I don't.
We're just getting started. I think I'm gonna throw a pause in because we do have to come back and do our reaction show. The memes, guys. We've got to react to the memes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Colby, if you want to hang around, that's totally fine.
I got nothing else to do. I'm here, guys.
So I will shoot you another link, but I am going to stop this one because I want this to be a standalone video because this has been an incredible interview. So, Colby, what I want you to do is give a plug to everything that you're doing right now, social media handles, YouTube channel, all of that. Plug all of your stuff in right here. Chat, you better listen to this man because he's dropped 2 hours of knowledge.
Yeah, follow me on social media at Start and Park Car on Twitter. You guys want to friend me on Facebook? I'm at Colby Evans as well. So if you want to get me on Facebook, YouTube channel, it's also called ARCA NASCAR Start and Park Cars. It's a long name, but you'll find it. I guess we'll give a plug too. We're at 437 subs. We're having a giveaway at 500. So definitely appreciate your support. We're giving away a Tony Stewart car. And obviously remember to subscribe to all these guys' channels. And also make sure you hit up Brock Beard, one of my best friends, hit up NASCAR Man. And of course, please give ARCA Racing a follow. And for everyone who does watch this show, please watch at least a couple of ARCA races this season. If you can, it would be much appreciated. And I think you'll be shocked that it's not as much of a joke as you think it is. And to that, yeah. And if you guys want to interact with me, if you guys want a specific starting park pick, sure, I got 10,000 of them probably, and I can pretty much get as much as you guys want. So if you guys enjoy the starting park, the low budget team content, I'm your guy pretty much.
Buddy, it's been a fun conversation. Like I said, if you want to hang around and do the meme reaction,
absolutely. I got nothing else to do.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so it's been the LTC from East Tennessee bringing you our fantastic Fan Friday, fantabulous, fun
Friday adventure,
something free for all. Yeah,
free fall. Yeah.
AKA. You could abbreviate it with FFFFFFFF. So we'll be back probably like within the next like 10 minutes or so. We're going to pick up Cooper back live on the channel. This is going to be just like our shit show.
I'm all for it, dude.
Yeah.
All for it. Let's do it.
So, yeah, give us like 10 minutes and we'll be back live. Thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, we love you and we'll see you next time in 10 minutes.